Hello and welcome to Gatecrashers, How Not to Create Content. My name is Bardic.
And I'm Hozzerino. We are not about gatekeeping here. We'll be giving you a real talk about what goes into content creation, the good, the bad, and the ugly.
What makes us qualified to talk about this? Well, we're both partner Twitch streamers, TikTokers, and even get involved with YouTube content.
I've been doing this full-time for over 3 years, and Bardic for nearly 2. So we've seen our fair share of mistakes.
We actually have a few special guests and a lot of opinions on these topics. The goal here is to give confidence and, honestly, a real slice of reality to what goes on behind the scenes.
We'll be talking about that dirty word, money, and also be talking some of the biggest mistakes and the biggest do-nots that we have ever faced.
So let's get dirty and talk about money. We actually have our lovely friend Dano to help us out. So hello, Dano. For those who don't know, Dano GSD is, well, actually, explain it yourself. What do you do?
So I do a lot of things. I am a partner Twitch streamer as well. I've been streaming for almost a year. I do a lot of stuff on TikTok. You might know me from my ASMR, because a lot of the people that do know me don't know I do anything else.
The singing, by the way, Dano's singing is just phenomenal.
And that, perhaps. You don't have to...
I'm going to play... like, I have a brown nose.
You don't have to bring that up when there's a stage.
Okay, so seeing as we're talking about money, like that is a big part. A lot of people do ask content creators about the money and this expectation that we actually earn a lot of money. Well, I don't necessarily know about these guys, but for me, it's I can pay my rent, I can eat, and I can have a few bits of fun on, as a person. But
a decent living.
What is it like? Yeah. So, what are your kind of, not necessarily, you don't have to say numbers, because Jeff Bezos will murder us if we actually give you figures. That is a thing. So, talk from your aspect how you treat money as a content creator.
So I never, as you should never think about money when you're starting streaming. It should always just be for fun. But of course, perhaps we might need money to eat food if we are doing this full time. I was able to move out finally in February. I shouldn't try and count the months because I'm a dog and I'm bad at math. But I've been paying rent ever since then, and actually, I dropped my water bottle. I dropped it again.
Oh no, the water bottle.
Yeah.
The bottle.
I actually finally got a new car because my old car literally has traveled the distance from the Earth to the Moon and was barely holding on.
That's impressive.
So I've got out of that.
Impressive. So I know you have your Patreon, for instance. Like, that's one of the ways, because one of the best things to do is to not put all your eggs in one basket. Diversify your income is a serious thing. This is very serious talk, but what is that like for you?
So when I started my Patreon, there was like a weird shift in my incomes. Between Twitch and Patreon, because some people are shifting their support over from bit donations and subscriptions over to the Patreon because they want that content. They want that juicy content. It was weird at first, but it's so much more stable because I have 2 different main sources of income. There's smaller things here and there, of course.
Hoz, what's it like with you? Because your main income is commissions, because you're an artist by trade.
Absolutely. In my experience so far, you cannot rely on Twitch just for all of your income. Like, from the numbers you get to just how much it fluctuates every single month. So yeah, my main source of income is commissions. Usually, this month it's a little down because I did close commissions because I've been a bit sick. There's Patreon. COVID. There's yeah. We went to a con together and I got COVID. My Patreon. Streamloots is a big one, and you use Streamloots as well, don't you? In fact, you were the one that got me onto Streamloots in the first place.
He got me on Streamloots too.
It's almost like I shill for
It's all a ploy.
It's just
Absolutely.
it's a good, yeah. I think it is a smart thing to do to diversify. So like with you with commissions and like obviously for different people that means different things. Like you're like what do you earn the most on? Some people earn more on Patreon, some earn more from commissions, some earn more from Twitch. Like I'll admit, depending on the month, it'll either be Streamloots or Twitch that really helps me pay my rent, which by the way, thank you. And understanding like some months there will be more support on a different platform than another, and analytics is one of those things that every content creator will be like, don't focus on the numbers, but be aware of them. Take a look every now and again, understand your trends, but also at some point, all content creators fall off, so just be prepared.
There's definitely dips and such.
Mm-hmm.
Plus, no bitches. Sorry.
No bitches. Maiden.
What would you say to someone who's about to make that jump from it's a hobby to this can be a career now? Because there are lots of people out there that do message that like, I could do this full time. What would you suggest when it comes to money?
I waited a very long time being like making enough to sustain myself before I actually went out and decided to sustain myself. You just have to you have to give it a while. You have to make sure that it's going to actually be able to support you, and then you don't have to move back in with your parents. Which, by the way, thank you for making me not have to do that.
So Haz, what was that like for you? Because you've been doing this for 3 years. What was your transition into this?
It took a long time. Definitely a lot of it is also relying on other people to help you in terms of Twitch growth. So in terms of monetizing your stream, the biggest tip I can give people that I wish people had told me earlier. At first, yes, put some money into your audio and things like that, definitely. But once you've got a basic setup, once you've got a decent setup that does a decent stream, never put money into your stream that you didn't make from your stream. Because you might... Well, if you're doing it for a hobby and it's for fun, fair enough. If you're trying to make it full-time and monetize it, you don't want to see that downward trend. You're actually putting more money into the stream than you make out of it. So that would be the best thing I could tell people is once you've got your great setup, your basic setup, make sure you are investing the money you make back into the stream and not everything, all your life savings.
There is one point to bring up. Oh, yes, go for it.
Like you said, sound is probably one of the more important things for a stream to keep people, because if it sounds like I've taken my headset off. Hey, what's up, guys? It's Dano GSC. We're going to be playing some Apex here today. No one wants to hear that. If you're going to spend money, do it on a microphone.
Mm-hmm. Especially because your biggest supporters are your lurkers. They're not necessarily watching, but they are listening.
Exactly. One thing that you might notice is that we've talked about stuff like Patreon, obviously Ko-fi's another option when it comes to stuff like that, as well as like Streamloots, and there's plenty of things like that. But considering like all of us make TikTok content and YouTube content, for instance, we're not talking about income from those because of their forms of revenue are pretty low on the bar to the point where it's nothing. TikTok's creator fund is a hot mess in the politest
I'm not
way.
even on it anymore.
I don't even know that. Like I don't look at it.
Apparently,
it's bad. So if you want to be
it actually reduces your views.
Content creator, oh,
that's what I've heard.
I'm gonna bail on that then.
But it's not worth it.
Yeah. So if you're thinking about being a full-time content creator on TikTok, you really gotta like look into options of like if that is a thing that you can really do. You gotta look into options off-site and off-platform. TikTok, if you're a Twitch streamer, TikTok is a great way to advertise really and show that you exist to the world. Whereas it's not a place to earn income. So honestly think about that.
Yeah.
All right. Cool. Let's move on. So obviously we can't just we have an hour. We want to get a lot of people to essentially give you their opinions. So, Dano, thank you very much. Stick around if you want to ask Dano a question. Go into the Furality Discord if you want to ask us questions.
There will be a Q&A at the end, so please, yes, get into Furality Discord. There is a specific channel for it. Please go ask us questions there. But before that, we have a video featuring some of your favorite content creators telling you what the best thing is about what they do.
Yes.
What is your most favorite thing about being a content creator?
Purpose.
The interactions.
Compassion. Friendships.
Educating people.
Small.
Serenity.
Satisfying.
Love.
But then there are
Expression. Meeting new people.
Fun.
fun.
Comfort.
Fulfillment.
Acceptance.
Encouraging.
Creativity.
Creativity.
All right, come back in your house.
Creativity.
Creativity.
Being creative.
Creativity.
Creativity.
So small compared to you guys.
Community.
Community.
The community.
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 Community. Community.
Community.
Community. The community.
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 Aw. That was heckin' precious. It's adorable.
Just to give you a number on that was 38 people we went and spoke to, and we thanked them all for taking part.
Yeah, filming with 38 people in one day, by the way, was a huge mistake. Do not go and do that. You will become a puddle and you will pass out.
Speaking of things you should not do, this section is all about our biggest do-nots of content creating, and we have the wonderful Flair here to help us.
Hey y'all. Hello.
Flair, tell us about what you do as a content creator first.
I stream on Twitch, like many others. And I would say, unlike most people, usually I am pretty exclusive to Twitch, which gives me a slight different perspective than some people. Because I definitely think it's possible, but there's definitely complications with that as well.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Cool.
Absolutely.
Yeah. About 4 times a
Alright,
week.
so- Very, very sweet bean. I love this bean a lot.
Yeah,
I'm
love
not
this
playing
bean too.
favorites. Oh, gross.
I am
I'm gonna
playing
kiss
favorites.
you at TwitchCon. All right.
Oh, that your favorite?
Honey,
Wow.
honey.
Heartbroken.
All right, rein it in.
Okay.
Rein it in. Come on.
Okay, so we all have like our biggest do nots. Like we've made mistakes, we've messed up. We've all done that as content creators. So let's dive in. Like, what are your biggest do nots of like content creation and maybe some mistakes that you've made?
The biggest do nots is trying to get the approval of everybody because you're not going to get that no matter what you do. I've spent big portion of my life, not to get too sappy obviously, but I've spent a big portion of my life trying to appease to every single person out there, trying to get some sort of way of behaving so everyone can like me. But it's an important lesson to realize that that's not possible. Everyone's different. Everyone has different stories and opinions, and it's important that we look into ourselves to try and make other people's understand, because that's why we speak the same language, you know? Because otherwise we might as well all speak different languages. And that way we can easily more understand each other and be empathetic and get along better. That's how I feel. Yeah.
Nice.
Mhm.
Huz, do you have any examples of your do nots and your regrets?
Yes. And yeah, this is a regret, but this is something I didn't know at first, and this is something a lot of people have done, and not many will admit to it, so I'm admitting to it right now. Advertising in other people's streams. And now I don't mean going in halfway through your stream, and if I went into Bardic's stream halfway through mine and went, hey, I'm live, come here instead. I mean, when you're saying goodbye to a streamer, saying, bye, I need to go stream now. That feels like you're saying, I want your community to come to me instead. And now that might seem harmless, but this other streamer that you might want to get on your side and be friends with, in the end, is going to remember that you did that. And that was their impression, and that's how they're going to remember you. And you're going to burn a bridge doing that.
It is a very scary thing not scary thing. It's very frustrating thing because I studied media production. I went to college to study creative media as well, and I did that for around 5 years. And that's a very communal kind of thing to experience, and you're all trying to support each other and help each other out. But you do remember the people who used you, is the thing.
Yeah.
So remember, if you are so focused on content and loving content, make that the focus. As you saw from that video, we've made wonderful friends who are content creators, and that's not about using each other. It's about making this community of people that love making stuff, and that's
exactly. It's
that you
about
can be
the
a part
people
of
still,
that.
not the content that they make. Especially if you want to pretend, or you want to be around the person and be there for them, but then make it obvious that you're not. Like at the end, like you gave the example, then that can burn in our memory, and it can twist our vision of you. Basically, just treat us like normal people, because in the end, we are just people. It's just we get more attention than some, which. There's a lot of implications with that, but you have to understand that, like, we sometimes get overwhelmed by the enthusiasm of people too, for whatever reason it may be. Is at least what I
Do you
found.
have any big do nots?
Dan actually brought up a big do not, and that is do not. For me, it is do not invest in video first. It's invest in audio, because your clean audio. My biggest regret was not buying. This is I do a lot of VR content, and my biggest regret is that I didn't get either a mod mic or an index when I started creating content. When I knew that was a viable thing, I should have spent more investment into that. To begin with, because audio is where it matters. Well, the content where it matters, but audio will carry you. Audio, as you said, your lurkers,
Especially for the lurkers.
care about your audio. Definitely,
Yes.
Yeah,
That's why you don't see
and-
many people stream on the Oculus, for example, with the robot mic, because usually people just get too frustrated.
And before you go out there and like go purchase an index, for instance, you can buy like a mod mic instead if you don't have a lot of money. And also, maybe this doesn't have to be like VR content or anything like that. We are talking to just generally about content. You can look up YouTube videos about best mic under $50, for instance. My favorite mic that I used before I had the ability to invest was a Samsung mic, and it was around £40, and it carried me for years. And I will always remember that. And you will remember that gear. That first investment, you will remember what carried you. Yeah.
Exactly.
Any other big do nots that you want to bring up?
I was very patient in the past before with people that abused that patience. And when I started, I wanted to, again, like try to do the best that I can. But you have to understand, in the position that you're in, you can get approached by a literal infinite amount of combination of attitude and behavior. So just stick true to yourself, be reasonable, and I feel like that are the most important things. Like, try to reason with them, and obviously if they're not listening to you, if it's like a one-way thing, then it's best not to invest too much time into it, I would say. Yeah.
Here's one that might annoy some people. Don't be scared to ban people if you're using Twitch.
Yes.
Exactly. If someone is making you uncomfortable, or is taking advantage of you, or annoying your chat, don't be scared to tell them off or ban them, because these people that make you uncomfortable might make other people in your chat uncomfortable, and then they'll leave.
Oh my god, yes.
And it's not creating...
I agree with that.
Yeah, exactly.
Have self-respect. I ended up in a scenario where someone was trying to reveal very personal information about me in my chat, and they'd been following and subscribed for 8 months. I timed them out for 10 minutes. They unfollowed, left my Discord and all that stuff, and I was like, okay, bye. Have self-respect. Remember your morality when it comes into the work that you do, and understand that you matter. There you go.
Yeah, 100% agree.
Perfect. Absolutely.
Okay, Flair, thank you very much for that. Once again, if you have any questions for us, Dano or Flair, check them in the Furality Discord, and hopefully that we can answer it soon. The quicker you do it, the better chance you have for us to answer it.
We already have a lot of questions there. Hell yeah. All right.
Heck yeah.
You go?
Perfect. Yes.
Oh, no, I stay.
So
I
we've
forgot.
heard from your favorite content creators the best thing about what they do in the previous video. But what are the negatives that each of them face? Let's find out.
What is your least favorite thing about being a content creator?
Dishonesty.
Ideas.
Overload.
Despair.
Being disappointing.
It's like a weird, I
Resilience.
see a little silhouette
Numbers.
of a man skeleton.
Numbers.
Scaramouche.
Algorithms.
Analytics.
Parasocial relationships.
Drudgery.
Attention.
Stress.
Self-doubt.
Standards.
Oh, my back.
Expectations.
I guess I can just stand over you like this, can't I?
Expectations.
Yeah, that's perfect.
Boundaries.
Losing friends.
Envy.
It's like a what is it?
Grind.
Go
Idolizing.
Presentai. Go
Pressing.
Presentai.
Uncertainty.
Time management.
Power
Time.
Rangers.
Lack of time.
Deadlines.
Burnout.
The burnout.
Burnout.
Drama.
Oh,
Cool.
Drama. Drama.
The drama.
they could hear.
Welcome to the Q&A. Welcome to the Q&A. Let's rip this. Apparently, they could hear us. Welcome to the Q&A. Let's rip this band-aid off and answer your questions with as much of the truth as Jeff Bezos will allow us.
Furality, can we get some questions, please?
Sure, I'm here for go bring up the questions.
Hello.
Let's see.
It's very intense. Ooh.
We need that like countdown thing, you know? Who wants to be a millionaire or whatever?
Oh, there we go. Okay, Crashers Q&A.
Hi.
Okay, we're going to go start from the top of the list. We're going to start off with Shaylee Dragon. They ask, do you have any suggestions for reviewing a YouTube channel that has been inactive for a long time? Oh, reviving, sorry, a YouTube channel.
Oh.
Ooh. Okay. So I've tried to do this and have massively failed because YouTube algorithm be YouTube algorithm.
Yep.
I would honestly suggest, especially if you're rebranding and redoing content, start something new. Get fresh into that algorithm and try and update that way. Anyone else been through this? Flair?
I've done YouTube for 15 years. 15 years, YouTube algorithm
Lord.
has sort of like left me in the dust, to put it kindly. So I would say if you're going to revive a YouTube channel, just rebrand, do the entire thing, and be creative. And that sounds pretty generic, but a lot of people end up just like copy pasting ideas and don't take a swing with it. And I feel like those do pretty well overall. Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
fantastic. Any other? Yep.
Yeah, next up from Tiki Tiger 27, they ask, how has streaming affected your mental health?
Bad.
Ooh, I'm gonna need a minute for this one. Ooh.
It's a,
Can I get my therapist?
There's a lot of contrast.
You can run.
I can start if you want.
Go,
Yes,
yeah,
please.
Go.
It gave me confidence in I found somewhere that I belonged. It may sound sad, but I feel like a lot of people can relate. Sometimes it's hard to find a reason to go on. And this is something that most of us have felt in one way or another. When I discovered my family, the people that gave me my home, that made it possible for me to completely and utterly just focus on my community, it made me stronger. It made me tougher to the people that were there, not for me, but for the person that I was status-wise, not the person who I was inside. And I feel like a lot of us have gotten tougher and stronger because of it. That's why a lot of streamers end up feeling so confident, and that's why some people are very nervous to approach them, because sometimes, we have to deal with a lot of red flags here and there, so it makes us stronger.
Menacing.
You know?
Mhm. We are very
That's
scary.
definitely, yeah. So one of the things that people don't realize that is difficult about streaming is keeping up like a good mood. So even if you see a streamer and they seem like the happiest person on earth, that's kind of part of their job to not have that much frustration be oozing into the chat. And so it can get difficult. It can be very stressful to stream. There were a couple of streams where I think I did a good job of portraying happiness, but I did not want to stream after that. But otherwise, on the good side of it, I like to keep the idea of life is worth it for the little things, and I like to make content so I can give other people that ideal too. Yeah. So that helps me focus on the little things.
Next question.
Okay, next question. Maria Lee asks, how has networking with other creators affected your own streams? Does rating other streams play into networking?
I wish I did that more.
Absolutely,
Oh,
100%.
Yeah, Hoz, do you understand this one?
Yeah, go for it.
Networking is so important because you make friends with other streamers, and you just expose yourself in your chat and then in their chat, and then you'll come up on their recommended. Hey yo, exposing. Yeah, you'll come up in their recommended when they're browsing Twitch, and they'll come check you out, if they want to, and you may end up making a great friend through that. So networking is so important, and raiding is huge, and it can be mutual as well. By raiding another channel, you can show your community another fantastic content creator and really boost their numbers. And if you raid people, they'll raid you back.
We've raided back and forth a couple times.
Especially when you raid into someone that just started and they start like crying because it's overwhelming. It's so
fantastic.
You have to understand. You're not alone here. You're not alone. Like no matter what, like people that bubble themselves up usually end up sort of stagnating in that way. Like, be open, and people will be open for you too. And like we're here for the journey together. Because without other people, what is it? Like
but
yourself.
Be warned as well. Like, don't if you get a big raid and you see that number drop, that is a very natural thing when it comes to raids.
That happens.
They've come
They
from
don't know
someone
you
else's
yet.
community.
Yeah.
They don't know you. That's the thing. And also, do not expect raids to happen. Just because you've made friends with another content creator doesn't mean that they might raid you. And also, don't because we're talking very much about streaming, so like that goes for collaboration in general. Just because you've made a TikTok friend or YouTube friend doesn't mean that you are going to end up in each other's content. And you have to respect each other's boundaries when it comes to that. Because networking is a great thing, and it's great to know people and support each other. But being a part of what each other make isn't necessarily a given thing.
Collab.
It's always about the person
that
itself.
do content creation is it's so necessary, because there are issues that we face that no one else will understand. But if I have an issue with my stream and I'm just frustrated, I can go talk to my friend Bardic, and they get it. They get why I'm frustrated. They know why. It's so powerful mentally, for your mental health, to have streamer friends who know what you're talking about.
It's a very unique position to be in. So having other friends that do similar things can be very helpful for your mental state. Like even if it's like someone that does similar things to you, same numbers, it doesn't matter. It's just like if you find someone that you like, talk to him and see what happens.
Next question.
Okay, this is from user Grovel. They ask, I hear a lot about Patreon, but I've also heard about Subscribestar being an alternative. Is Patreon still the best one to use?
Subscribestar?
I've never heard of that. I've never heard of
it. So I think the best one to use is the one that you think is best for you. Patreon isn't currently available in all countries due to certain world events going on right now. You might also find that Patreon, I think it has different rates of like their cuts depending on what country you're in. So you might find another service that's better. Ko-fi or Coffee is a really good one as well, and a lot of people are choosing that instead. But I think the most important thing to remember is that because if you're using it as a side and you just point people towards it from your area, from your stream, because that's what I do, they're going to go to the one you point them to. Patreon,
There
as far
is-
as I'm aware, doesn't. Sorry, go.
No, good. I was going to say another thing to keep in mind here is that yes, you might find someone new on the scene, and try and look out for people who have a good review or an honest review, really, about what that service does. I've recommended, as I said, Streamlabs to a lot of people. I use Patreon because honestly, if you just say, "Hey, go back my Patreon," everyone knows what that does. Everyone knows what to expect. Go back my Ko-fi. That is a marketing thing right there. You need brand recognition is a key thing in that, and the fact that we all just went Subscribestar should give you some kind
exactly.
of reaction to what your audience would even be like with a service like that.
I should probably get different incomes too, because currently it's only Twitch. it can be very this. So,
An example of a reason why to diversify the income that you get.
Yes.
Yep.
Okay, next up
Next
from
question.
Corey Onibi. They ask, what's the best thing you can or need to do if you want to create art but also play games on something like Twitch? What's the best way to balance it all and get started?
Do whatever you want.
Huzz?
Hello, I do
play
both.
games.
No, Dano, if you have something to say, you can say it. It's fine.
I'll just say that really quick. If you're streaming and you're getting an audience, they're there for you. They don't care what you do. Hopefully at least.
Absolutely.
So you can play whatever. You can do whatever
Ideally,
you want.
that either way, right? So if you have an audience that like this is what I thought too. Like if you have an audience that came from another website, they can be there for the content that you've made or what you've been featured in. Because I sometimes feature in other people's content creation, and then they come in my stream asking me about them. So ideally, you just want to do what you want to do, because even if you attract people pretending to be someone you're not, they're not going to stay there for you then, because that's not you. Eventually you're going to buckle up and have to be yourself either way. So it's the best way to enjoy what you do,
A good one is having a set schedule, if you're able to do this mentally, a set schedule with set days. So I usually, when I'm not feeling ill, I art Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday, and game on a Sunday. And people know that. People know the difference. But really, after twitching for 3 years, I find that the same people come, no matter what I'm doing. Hi, John, can I see you in the chat pinging me? No matter what I'm doing, they will turn up every time. Hi, Deem. Hi, everyone. I see you. The best thing to do is do what you want to do on that day, because you're going to be happiest doing that and giving out the best energy. Because
and the people that are there for you also want to see you happy. So if you're doing what you're doing, there you go. They're gonna feel that energy, If you're there and it feels like an obligation and you're slogging along and just brushing life for the sake of going live, that's not fun for anyone. No one wants you to suffer,
Some
people might want to see you suffer.
Well, yeah. Going back to the fact that we both use Streamloots, all three of us use Streamloots, we definitely know that a lot of the community likes to see us suffer.
Chat made me drink an entire gallon of milk in a
right now
night.
in my ears. What?
I think I legitimately get called cute 3 times a minute, even though I legitimately tell them not to. So they just don't listen sometimes.
You are
Rookie
cute.
numbers.
See,
Shut up.
and also the only reason why my cover of the X3 Nuzzles video happened is because it was for charity. People were like, "Yeah, we're donating up to that mark to punish you." So
yeah,
I'll do one better. I'll make one myself. There you go.
Do it. All right, next question.
Yep.
Sure thing. 1 second. This is a question from Hellers. They ask, how do you have a healthy work-life balance while streaming or creating content full-time?
What's that?
Okay, shut up.
It can be very chaotic and intimidating.
I've been doing a lot of work on that recently.
Yeah. It's difficult. You constantly see these reasons to improve and you want to work on it. I have to discipline myself that on Monday, I don't reply to messages, I don't work, I don't art, I just sit there and I stare at the wall. No, I play games,
Oh.
but stuff. Yeah, I do whatever I want to do. I go for a walk, whatever. But that's so
But
hard
if your monitor's on your wall,
sometimes.
there you go.
I do have something to say about it.
Go on, go ahead.
Yeah.
10 hours of watching paint dry.
So I'm from Utah, and there is
Sorry.
a weird culture in Utah where if your child doesn't have like some sort of artistic musical talent, they are useless. So I was kind of conditioned to be like a content factory, and I'm starting to get away from that. I'm telling myself, people will not start hating me if I miss a stream. They're not going to think, oh wow, he's a bad streamer and they'll care about this.
Wow, what an unreliable streamer.
I do make sure to take time off and play League with my friends. As much as relaxing as you can call playing League, I still do it.
I think
As well as like, oh, sorry, go on. You first.
Sorry. I was going to say, so like I've recently started going to therapy again because I say like a lot of the, I think what happened with me in the pandemic was I tied a lot of what I could do socially in with content, and I grew during the pandemic, and I haven't learned how to relax beyond that. So that's I've realized, say, like my mental health needs work. And understanding that I have limits, and my self-esteem shouldn't be tied to the content that I make. I should, also relax and be there with my friends. Not everything I do has to be content. I say while stood on a stage.
Making
Well,
content.
for me, that feels also like, it's like working your entire life, and you're just like, oh, you don't want to like see whatever that you're focusing on, whether it's like numbers, popularity, or money, like go down. So you're constantly working. But like work is pointless if you never relax. It's like, what's the point of having all of this if there's no fun to be had, like it's like never taking a vacation. If you have a 9 to 5, you're gonna go insane, like everyone else.
And that's another thing. If you don't take breaks, your work quality is going to drop.
Yep.
That's it.
Yeah, you'll just gradually kind of decline because you're not relaxing. It is scary as a content creator to see, like, take yourself, have that break, because your core audience, I've had it recently when I went to Confuzzled. I've seen a lot of core audience members go over to other streamers, and I'm like, I miss you, but that's the nature of the beast. That's the nature of the beast. But I also understand that I feel so much better, and things are being better in content, and the plans that I have now are going to be tenfold better just because I took that break.
As well as like people bounce around anyway. It's like it's unavoidable, like the harder you'll grasp the, like, I don't know, like it's sort of like a two-way relationship, like you got to learn to let go, got to learn to distance, and then come back whenever, no one's obligated to watch you, which is also important. You have to keep that in mind too. Yeah,
Don't grab it too tight
Absolutely.
or leave it too loose.
Yeah, exactly.
Next question.
Yeah. Move on quickly.
This is a popular question. This Victory Games VR asks, does streaming help with social anxiety?
Yes.
Yeah.
So
You
much.
get exposed to a lot of social shit, so you learn with it, It's like eventually you just adapt, or you buckle. It's either or. Like either you burn out and it's way too much for you, or you produce way less content, I suppose, or expose yourself way less, or you learn how to deal with it.
And you get better at talking.
Absolutely.
And dancing.
Just natural.
That's
There's
my
like a baseline that improves, but one thing that I found, and when I went to Confuzzled and when I went to actually meet Hoz for the first time, one thing that I thought of was like, streamers are content creators in general are slightly different when they're doing that content. They're still, if they're being themselves, they're still them, but they've dialed themselves up a little bit. As Dano said, like sometimes we have to hide when we're a bit sad, and stuff like that. But one thing that you can pull out of that, and this goes out to anyone in VR, like make sure that you're pulling out of this environment and not just putting all of yourself in. The you that you are working on, and that you are building yourself up to be and discovering, pull that out of what you're doing. Bring that into your reality and bring that into yourself. Because
get the best aspects of yourself out.
Sorry. go on.
you get so much confidence. Like there would, I wouldn't have played. I have a song called Candlelight that I've never played publicly before, and at Confuzzled, thanks to this community and thanks to all of this, I played on stage for the first time, like with a guitar, and I cried after, and I'm probably gonna cry after this.
Oh, I missed that. Fuck.
But yeah. Next question.
Okay, this is also a popular one. Dragon Spice Soul asks, how do you keep motivated as you first started? Say your growth is very slow. What would you say kept pushing you forward in those dry areas?
I have a very good thing about that. So
Damn
the
it.
first content that I ever made, I made like some clips of me playing League of Legends after putting together like the Bongo Cat PNG tuber that just slaps the keyboard. And my friend was like, hey, you should put those on YouTube. And I made something like 20 YouTube videos that got 6 or so views each because it was fun. It's just fun to do. And if you focus on that and you aren't trying necessarily to grow, your motivation shouldn't go away.
Yeah. If you're focusing too much on the numbers, it's really, really difficult to keep that motivation up if you're not seeing the numbers you want. A lot of what kept me going was that I was just doing stuff with friends. And so, whenever we were doing that, I'd just stream as well. And the numbers wasn't the focus. Having people there wasn't the focus. I was having fun with my friends. And hopefully seeing some people coming and watching us and talking to us too.
Flo, it seemed like
I forgot the question. Was it about motivation?
How do you keep
motivation
motivation?
pretty much.
Yeah, like I feel like with everything regarding content creation, I think it's very important to always remain as humble as you can. And like saying like, oh, I'm humble is like completely ironic, right? Like it's completely hypocritical.
Not
But
in
you
my
have to
case.
understand that. Oh, okay, okay. But
Oh, come on.
you have to understand that all of this we're extremely grateful for, because none of this is like certainty. All of this is just pure generosity that we get from the people that want to support us. So living like that, keeping that in mind is very important as you go along. Because if you're like expecting things to happen, like expecting people to, like sub or throw money or whatever, then it's going to sting that much more if you don't achieve that goal. And your attitude and everything else will be affected by it, and people will notice. So keep in mind that everything that you do gain is complete and utter generosity. And that's how I feel about it.
Oh, there's so many questions, and we've got like 7 minutes left. Oh goodness!
Quick,
All right, I've got to want to keep it.
Okay, Killer J.
Another one.
Rapid fire.
Another
Let's start
question.
Rapid fire.
Killer J1812 asks, what are some streaming products to avoid?
Product.
Streamlabs, right?
Streamlabs,
That's
anything
the bad
Streamlabs
one.
OBS. Streamlabs OBS.
Streamlabs
I would
OBS.
say.
Yes. Yeah.
Use OBS.
Yes, like they copied some shit from OBS Studios and shit, and there's some drama and whatever. But
It's bad.
like,
Language.
And
GG.
There we go. But yeah, OBS and Stream Elements are a great combination, and you have full control of what to do within OBS. Great open source.
You mentioned
software.
the Blue Yeti earlier. Blue
Blue Yeti,
microphones, they know that people will go to them for streaming, so they sell on their brand name. You can find equivalent mics much cheaper.
Yeah, anything brand
Tutorial
related
and
to
the
streaming,
actual
yeah.
amount that you can spend.
Next question.
Budget microphone. Yeah.
Next question. Doomboy64 asks, what should you do if your followers only start to care about one type of game you play and basically ignore all other kinds of content? Is this avoidable?
Bring him in kicking and screaming. What?
Have a real life talk with him. Real life talk with him. You gotta understand.
yeah.
Like they gotta understand that you're still you. Like if you only ever do one thing, then you're gonna have the possibility of stagnation.
I want to play Titanfall.
Oh yeah.
And
Well, you can.
possibly,
You're not limited.
it's difficult when the numbers are there. It's really difficult to pull yourself away from it, but sometimes you got to think, is it worth me losing my mental health playing this same game over and over and over again for a few more numbers on my followers?
Also, eventually
long
people
term,
lose
not short
interest.
term.
So yeah. Okay, next
Long
question.
term.
Next question. Abso the Fox asks, how do you expand your network of peeps that you hang out with, and what's the best way to approach other creators?
Don't
Great.
run up to us going, "Oh my god,
just talk
it's
to
you
them.
from Twitch.tv." Please, please, please.
I do that to Hoz regularly.
I'm okay with that.
Just so you know.
Just keep in mind that we can, not necessarily, depending on how much public you go, but we can get approached like that quite often. So having a meaningful bond with everyone's going to be impossible. So yeah.
Absolutely.
Just try and make it as
and
natural
also-
to understand. Be as natural as possible when you're communicating with a content creator. If your goal is to make content, you can be honest about that. You can talk about that, but also remember, if you are after doing a collaboration, you need to basically go to them with everything. If you want to collab, don't be like, "I want to collab with you. Can I be in your stream?" It's like, no. What you should be offering, the opportunity, you should be going, "Hey, I want to do this thing. It'd be really cool if you could be in it," because in that way you can clearly see that you've put in the time. And I need to stop talking. Let's go to the next question.
Let's go.
Rumble Drake asks, "How has the growth of your content changed the way you interact with your community?"
Huh.
So experience with that has made me much less open and a little more careful with my words. I say a little, very careful with my words.
There's certain red flags that you can notice whenever someone approaches you for your status and not the person, I would say, and you just sort of learn how to keep out for that. And other than that, we want everyone to get along. I think everyone's
still the same
sort of
person
on the main. Yeah, exactly. Yep.
Hell yeah. All right, final. I guess this is going to be the final question before we have to start wrapping up. Looking at the time.
Okay. Sledge LP asks, "Do you have any tricks that helps you to always put a smile on, as you said is important?"
I didn't hear that whole thing.
Okay, so do you have any
either,
tricks
sorry.
to help you always put a smile on your face, which you all say is important?
What? You mean
I
that's what
always
helps?
make sure before a stream, I have a little ritual. I know what works for my mental health. I always make sure I up an hour before my stream, have a shower, and have a coffee or a G-Sups. Hozzerino for 10% off at the checkout.
Oh my god.
But just something that lifts my mood, wakes me up, and makes me feel good for the day.
I would say-
I honestly crack a can of Monster myself. If I'm not in the best of mood, crack a can of Monster, chug it, and my energy goes up. So yeah.
Coffee.
We're drugged.
Okay.
We
Also
actually still have time for
variations.
one or two more questions, depending on how quick you answer them.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Good.
Okay, so this is Abyssal Rin asks, "If you get a person in your stream chat who you've known to be a problem with at least two acquaintances, friends, or otherwise people you've liked, and this new person isn't actually doing anything harmful in your stream, would you consider them ban-worthy on the spot?"
Yeah.
If I'm uncomfortable, I want my space to be comfortable. I'm not in the right mental space if someone's making me uncomfortable, and that makes that's a disservice to the community.
Yeah, I would say if they're showing signs that they can be reasoned with, which I think is really important, right? Because no matter really, I think of it slightly differently, but no matter really how someone comes over the first time, I always want to give people multiple chances and the
Maybe I was
chance
too
to
hasty.
prove that they can be empathetic, And
Exactly.
if they refuse to do that, then I think they're ban worthy, because at that point they're never going to listen to you anyway, and you might as well not bother.
But again, it's up to you. It's what you're comfortable with and how you feel. Is that all we have time
Exactly.
for?
All right.
I think we
we've
have
got
one more.
some things to say just after the questions. Do we
But
have time to wrap up
go
after?
ahead, wrap it up
Do we have time
instead.
to wrap up after the next? Okay, cool. All right.
Okay.
All right. Thank you all so much for coming to watch. You can go find Dano over at Dano GSD.
And you can find
Oh,
Flair
yeah.
here over on Flair VRC. Go follow them both, please. And thank you so much for taking part with us.
Yes,
Okay,
thank you for
it's been
inviting me. It was
such-
very fun.
Heck yeah. It's been such an amazing time this year at Furality. Talking as a content creator and a friend, I want to say a huge congrats to so many of my friends this year. Heartwood has a booth. Echo is DJing in 10 minutes. Go watch the set. It's so good.
Oh, fuck yeah, let's
Victory
go.
Games giving an incredible performance yesterday. They made me cry. Wishstream's panel was amazing and really smart. JT sang and said bark way too many times. Chaotic K9 is way too into FNAF. Whiskey Dingo's panel was so good and it actually taught me quite a lot as well. I'm so proud of so many people and seeing them grow and hopefully so so many of you are watching right now and want to take part in Furality next time. It just honestly is truly amazing.
It has been amazing to be up on stage, taking part in this con, and seeing the reaction from the community. So many people with questions. We'd love to come back next time and do it again.
So,
we love you guys.
I'm BardicRJ.
I'm Hozzerino.
This has been Gate Crashes.
How not to create content.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.